Welcome back to Card Corner. Today we are doing an unboxing and review of the standard edition and the holographic edition of the Black Anyone playing cards. All right, so here we have the normal and the holographic edition of the Black Anyone playing cards. These are the second editions of the Anyone playing cards. The first editions being the red and the green. I really enjoyed these cards, so I'm excited to see what the black editions look like. There are some key differences, including stylistic changes, as well as being manufactured by a different company. So we'll see how they compare to the originals. The red and green were printed by the United States Playing Card Company on thin crushed stock. And these right here just say made in China. We're gonna start with the normal edition. We'll do a deep dive on these and then take a look at the holographic edition, which is basically just gonna be the same thing, but shinier. These come with their new fancy Anyone pull tabs that actually say Anyone along the seams. Just like with the first edition, it has a fake out seal sticker, which I really like about this tuck box. This is a matte tuck box, so it's nice and smooth. A lot smoother than the first edition. It's a very nice touch. Nani? Oh my God, why is this not? Bro, this is very difficult to open. Oh, and it's bending the tuck box, which is what I was afraid of happening with that resistance. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Oh. Ooh. Let's try that fan again. It's a little better. Right away, I've noticed the difference feeling-wise. These really stick to your fingers. They're not as smooth and buttery as the United States Playing Card Company. They just feel a bit rougher and they really grip to your fingers, which I guess could be a good thing, but we'll see. Right away, we have a card that says I see with the eye. I think that's really cool. Water, sparks, light, and noise. The ace is just the 6006 logo. It says Anyone 2023, Card Arts and Culture. So in the court cards come the stylistic difference between the first and the second editions. As you can see, they've done this blackout approach to the background, which in its own right is pretty cool. I don't hate the concept. I think it's definitely interesting. But one of the main things that I really loved about the first editions were these really cool graphic court cards. Each court card had a unique graphic on it, and come on, just look at these. They're so cool. To me, this is a little bit of a downgrade and a little bit of a bummer considering how unique the court cards were in the first editions to basically then just have standard court cards in the next. I know they're not standard in the sense of the blackout in the background, but they're really just not as cool. The red court cards do the same thing, but with a red background. The rest of the deck outside of that is standard. Here we have some jokers. I do really like these jokers. I think those are pretty cool. So these cards are very reminiscent of the graphics in the old deck, and it's kind of the same vibe, but again, outside of these cards, the rest is basically standard. All right, let's open up the holographic edition. So as you can see, it still has that fake out seal sticker, but it's nice and shiny now. There's that nice foil on the tuck box. Ugh, these tuck boxes are kind of awful to first open. They just really like to bend like that. Ugh. All right, there we have that IC. Same cards, no differences on the faces at all, but the backs, you get that nice holographic design. These really just, are not that great handling. All right, I'm basically just gonna score this deck. This is just a fun little bonus, but you know, they're the same deck of cards outside of the holographic back, so they're each gonna get the same score basically. That being said, let's give them an out-of-box rating. Back design. This is a solid back design. I do really like the 6006 logo. It's a simple back design. It hits pretty hard in black.
Does it come in black?
I'll give this back design a solid 8 out of 10. Feeling and handling. I'm not gonna lie, right out of the box, these are kind of rough. Like I said, they kind of get caught on your hands. It creates a lot of friction, like they really just stick to your fingers. They're just not as buttery smooth as the United States Playing Card Company. And it really comes out when you try to do things like fans. This is brand new out of the box. These cards I've had for about a year now and they fan better. I'm sure they'll be great for packet cuts and I'll still be able to do cardistry with them. But overall, right away, the difference in handling is very apparent. For now, I'm gonna give them a 7 out of 10 for feeling and handling. Overall theme and aesthetic. I really like the aesthetic of the back design, but again, it feels like the court cards are a downgrade. It's kind of disappointing to just have little tastes of the old aesthetic in there. I think overall, I'd give these a 7.5 on theme and aesthetic. They're not horrible. Like I said, the blackout background is kind of cool in its own right. It's just a bit difficult when these are a continuation in a line of cards that really knocked it out of the park in the first editions. All right, I am going to handle these. I'm gonna do some cardistry with them, and I'll see if my opinion changes at all. I'll be right back. I'm not even joking. I did the unboxing for these like an hour ago, went off, did other stuff, sitting down on the couch for the first time, handling these cards, and literally the box just popped open, dude. These are for the holographic ones. You could see like the glue on the side just unglued. It just, bro. I swear I didn't like drop them or anything. I sat down, I took them out of the tuck box, I played with them for a few minutes, I went to put them back in the tuck box and it was just popped open. What? Come on, dude. Whoa. All right, here is my final review of the Black Anyone playing cards. Back design. I originally gave the back design an 8 out of 10. I'm sticking to the score of 8 out of 10. Like I said, I'm a fan of the 6006 logo. I think it looks particularly good in black. Overall, it's a simple, strong, one-way back design. Feeling and handling. All right, I initially gave these a 7 right out of the box. Like I said in my review, they tend to stick to your fingers. They're quite a chalky deck. They're not terrific for fanning. Yes, they're good for packet cuts, but I feel like that's just a thing that cardists say. Like, everything's good for packet cuts. Kind of feels like an excuse for poor handling cards. At the end of the day, of course, you can still do cardistry with them. They are good for packet cuts, technically. You know what? I've been giving a lot of slack and leeway for all these cards being printed outside of the United States Playing Card Company. I always try to give the benefit of the doubt. I always say, you know, like, the United States Playing Card Company is not the king of kings of companies. There is a possibility to print outside of the United States Playing Card Company and make a good handling deck of cards. But if I'm being honest, these don't compare to the original Anyone playing cards that were printed by the United States Playing Card Company on that nice buttery smooth thin crushed stock. All that being said, I will give these a 6.6 in terms of feeling and handling. You know, Anyone is a cardistry focused company, so no matter what, they're gonna produce a deck that you're able to do cardistry with. But honestly, these don't handle the best. Even the KISS playing cards they released recently through a Chinese manufacturer, they kind of had the same chalky feel, but they weren't as bad as these. All that said and done, 6.6 is not a horrible score. It's just not the greatest score you can get, especially from a brand like Anyone, who have put out decks with incredible handling quality. Overall theme and aesthetic. The strong points for the theme and aesthetic is the black background. Black and white cards always look cool. We do get some cool graphic cards in there, but like I said in my review, these kind of feel like a downgrade from the last editions. Call it what you want. I'm not sure if it's fair for me to compare these to the first editions, but it's kind of hard not to. I'm just really not sure why they decided to go a different path. Even if they had copy and pasted the graphics from the first editions, I think that would have been cooler than the court cards that we got in this edition. So my initial rating was a 7.5. I'm gonna stick to a 7.5. Overall, it has a pretty good theme and aesthetic, but I think it could have been a little bit better. So that brings the total score to 7.3, which is still a good score, but I think this is the lowest score an Anyone deck has gotten on this channel so far. Between the artistic direction that they took and the overall quality of the actual cards, this just isn't my favorite deck that anyone's released. I still think they look cool. Again, I like the back design, but with how chalky and clunky the cards can be, and then just my tuck box just straight up breaking within like an hour of me opening them, it could be better. I don't know. Sorry guys, like the production quality on these ones just aren't meeting the standards that you have set in the past for me. Sorry for the tough love, anyone, but I gotta keep it real. I'm just not a huge fan of how they handle. Overall, 7.3, not a bad rating. I'm just used to giving these decks like 8s and 9s, even 10s. But overall, there's still anyone playing cards. They're still cool. They still handle pretty well at the end of the day comparatively. That's all I really have to say about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like, hit a subscribe, share this, and I'll see you on the next one.